Our next guest really needs no introduction. The king, Jeremy McGrath. What's up, MC?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Well, doing pretty awesome now that we're talking to you. We just got off the phone with Chiz, and he says to tell you you're his hero, that you already know this, and he has every race from 96 on VCR tapes stowed away. So that's what he watches for motivation.
I know. You know, the only bad part about that is you just think about your VCR tapes in the cabinet, and you're like, man, at one point, am I not going to be able to watch these anymore?
Oh, no kidding. I still have some. And they look so bad on today's TVs. Like, you really have to have an old TV to even make it look good.
Oh, right, because the HD is so good now.
Yeah, I have a bunch of old concert footage and stuff on VCR, and I go to watch it, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what we got YouTube for, I guess.
That's it. Yeah, everything's on YouTube now, man. But hey, Vet Nationals this weekend. You got the Edison Dye Award. Your family was there. Your mom, dad. I believe your sister was there. How cool was that for you?
Yeah, you know, it was exciting. I was bummed my wife wasn't there, but my younger daughter had a lacrosse tournament. She was in Tucson for that. So we chased the girls around. They play lacrosse. So, it was a really big night. It was a great weekend. I was really stoked my parents were there and my sister. The riding, when I heard I was going to get the award, it was exciting. I was like, I just need to bring my dirt bike and do some riding. And, boy, after Friday's practice, I was like, well, I'm not sure that was the right idea. The track was so gnarly rough.
I'm glad you're saying that, because I've been getting made fun of for it.
Oh, no, that track was bad.
Yeah.
Saturday was so bad. Sunday was, great layout. It's just a lot of guys, a lot of riding and no prep, and the track was just hammered. So it was tough. Sunday was a lot better. But, yeah, big weekend. Edison Dye Award was brought back by Tom White, owner of White Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And, in I think it was 89, I was riding for Pro Circuit. I was kind of a kid and just really didn't have a whole lot going on. And I was trying to be better, and I wasn't feeling like I was getting, I was a nobody. So I wasn't getting the help I thought I needed, and I was going to quit Pro Circuit. And I met Tom White. And Tom White was the one who, he took a chance. He decided that he was going to help me, and I was really needing some help in the suspension department. So he put me together with one of his suspension techs, this guy named John. And man, we were a great match. And I just wish Tom was around to see me accept that award, and I'm just so honored to get it. It was really cool that his daughter Kristen was there, and of course son-in-law John Anderson of W Wheels. So there was some family there, and it's a really, the award itself had a lot more deep meanings than just getting the award because of my accolades over the years. I had some really good connection with White Brothers back in the day, and in fact I won my first Supercross in Vegas in 90 on Team Green, riding a White Brothers suspension bike. So it was exciting. Tom White was a true gentleman. He was an ambassador of the sport, a huge ambassador of the sport. And, it would have been cool to have him see that. So it was a big night for me. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never got a chance to meet Tom. Kristen's actually coming on after you. John was on Pulp last night, so I grabbed the wife. But, really great family, and everything I ever heard about him was just kind of like you, right? No ego, just really gave back, loved the sport, loved the camaraderie of the sport, and seemed like just a wonderful human being.
He was, absolutely. And, he's passed that down to his daughter.
Yeah.
And, of course, John is a great guy, too. Mm-hmm. So, Tom was just, he was someone that you just would want to emulate, someone that you would want to be. He was a great mentor for a lot of us, helped a lot of people, and it was important to him. It wasn't fake. And he loved his motorcycle, and the passion exudes from, the things that he did. And I think he pinched himself every day that he had White Brothers and had such an awesome, successful company. But, he deserved every second of it. So, it was a special award for me. I got the big glass trophy right up in my hallway, looking pretty sweet. So, it's a story that I'm going to be telling for years to come, I hope. And, again, it was just one of those things that was just awesome for me.
Yeah, they put together this really great video, and I sat there and watched it, and some of the footage I remembered, some of it I'd forgotten. But like what I took away, and they really touched on, was again your lack of ego and how you were with the fans. You're just a regular guy. You talked about that in your speech, and I think I told you this story when we had you on back on show 100. Like 93, I'm a senior in high school, and I draw a picture of you in art class, right? And it's not a good picture. It's pretty bad. But I come up to the box van, and you're in there getting ready for whatever, for the night show, and autographs are over, and Skip's standing there, and I'm like, hey, man, can you just give this to McGrath? I just want him to have it. And he's like, well, hang on. Yeah. And he goes up there, and you come out, and like you take time when you didn't have to, and tell me how great it is, even though I know it's really bad. And like, it really stuck with me, all these years. You not only were you the king and changed the sport, but you were just a cool guy. You could have been like, yeah, I don't have time for that kid, but you did.
Yeah, I've found. Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate it. I take pride in when people say those kind of things to me. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's not something I tried to do. I find it, I'm a huge sports fan, right? And I've said this a million times. I love like famous athletes, and it's super cool. I mean, I'm as intrigued with them as maybe some people might be with me. But, I think it's, as I said in that video, it's a lot harder to be someone that you're not than someone that you are, and I always with the autographs and all the people, the time that people need and all this stuff within reason, I just try to handle it when it's in front of me, because I don't know. I mean, everyone, I think that everyone would, know this is, if you're not nice, or you go, I got to do this later, I'll handle it later. I ain't got time, blah, blah, blah. I mean, in this case, I would have walked back in the van and go, man, you know what? I should have just handled it right then. It'd be over. Yeah. And I always felt like if I could just most of the time handle all that stuff, if it was possible, then it was completely out of my mind. I would never have to think about it again. And I don't know, you're trying to be an athlete, and it's just kind of your job. I don't think you need your brain filled with, stuff that you feel guilty about, and that you just need to be clear headed all the time. And look, there's times when I'm sure that someone can just go, Jeremy was a dick. He wouldn't take care of this, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there was times, I'm sure, when, of course, I'm not innocent, for sure. I know that, but I just try to do the best I can with being, as normal as possible. I think that was just best for me also. And I think I have my parents to thank for that. It's, my dad would slap me in the head if I was acting like an idiot, big headed. And I think that's the way it should be. You need someone to tell you the truth. Yeah. And, my parents weren't afraid to do that. That's cool. Yeah, I look at it as, from the fan perspective, like I might have never had another chance to talk to you. That might have been the one time ever I got to see you, and I think you kind of understood that because you just talked about being fans of other athletes. Yeah. And I've got a lot of friends that are musicians, and I go to concerts, and there's hundreds of people trying to talk to them. They're just like, yeah, I don't have time. I got to go to sound check, or I got to do this. And I understand as athletes, right? You don't always have time, but yeah, those fans, if there's any chance for you to say hi to those fans, that might be the one chance in their entire life that they ever get to see you. And that's really cool. We don't have to keep going into it, but it's really cool that you understood that. So, I think it meant a lot to the fans, and we could see everybody in the museum during your speech, like the fans that were in there, you could just see how much they appreciated who you were as a person, not so much your accolades or your accomplishments, but who you were as a person. Yeah. And I think that's what I want to be remembered more as, I mean, look, I'm just like everybody else, I can ride my dirt bike, but I mean, the fans, for you, for instance, when you drew that picture and you came up and you were probably nervous to even talk to Skip. You were nervous to do the whole thing. I mean, that you're putting in extra effort, right? I mean, and I just felt like, look, I needed to put extra effort in. I mean, this is the fans and all the people that are there and the people that are buying stuff in the industry, or the people that are giving me the option to do what I do. It's not just like, it wasn't just Honda, or it wasn't just Yamaha. It's the fans that are buying those bikes, buying that gear, buying that stuff. And I just tried to keep it all in check. Look, I mean, there's a lot of nice guys in our sport. I think I take pride in our sport and knowing that we have a lot of cool athletes in our sport. Yeah, there's some dummies in there too, but you know what? For the most part, motocross and supercross is a cool sport, and all the athletes are really cool. You know, we know which ones aren't, and sometimes they can be cool, sometimes not. I think that's another thing that I don't appreciate is someone that's different at times. You know, one time you see them and they're cool, and one time you see them and they're not. So those are the things that, as a fan of any kind of sports athlete, I don't appreciate. You know what I mean? Yep. So, anyways, again, it's a great compliment. I appreciate it, and you know, it's a good. I feel like it's served me well. I have a lot of great relationships now that I can call on at any point because of, you know, the friendships we've built up over the years. And that's with any team and any manufacturer. So, you know, it just goes a long way. And I'm just proud to be in our sport still and having the connections and the relationship I do with the fans and with the industry itself. So I'm up, you know, shoot, I pinch myself every day. I'm 51 years old, which is crazy. That's hard to say, but going to be 51 on the 19th of this month.
Yikes.
And still just, you know, willfully employed, I guess is what you say.
Of course. Yeah. You earned it, man. You earned it. Go ahead, Scotty.
You know, you kind of mentioned, you know, how you liked other celebrities and stuff like that, and I always thought and appreciated. I grew up like height of, you know, I was like 9 when you were like at the middle and end of your career, and so I always saw that gap bridge. You know, you were on, you know, a 1-800-COLLECT commercials with Carrot Top, and you know you were on Leno, and you bridged that gap to that sports, and I know ESPN had a lot to do with that, but I just kind of wanted to know what you thought would need to happen for our sport to kind of get that limelight again and kind of bring us back to those days where that whole culture was kind of integrated.
Well, listen, I have to give credit to Cheryl Lynch, who was my publicist for years and years. I mean, I was the only rider out there that had a publicist. I mean, it seemed like a weird thing to do, but I was so smart looking back at it now. And it happened by chance because when I went on to Suzuki that year, she was working for Suzuki at that time, and Suzuki didn't have any riders that she could really promote until I got there. And then basically when I left Suzuki, I brought her with me, and she left Suzuki and started working for me. And that's when all the really cool Dub magazine, I mean, I was interviewed in Playboy. We went on to Leno.
Yeah.
We went on to Leno twice. We did all kinds of really cool off the wall stuff that no one really ever was working to do. And it was just one of those things where I thought, man, if I could just build my own personal brand, it would create more opportunities, which it did. I mean, we had the Sony the Sony PlayStation Supercross 98, Supercross 2000. You know, the the bad part about it for me was I was pioneering a lot of these things, right? So I just felt like, man, you know how it is when you're the first guy to do stuff. The deals they're not always the best deals, right? So Ricky Carmichael came along who unseated me, right? And his deals were, but it kind of always, you know, by nature, that's always how it works. You know, he got some deals that were a little bit bigger than mine, but he did a great job on taking what I did and then parlaying that into something bigger and better. And he had the writing to back it up. So, you know, I guess what I'm saying is, you know, a lot of people at the time didn't reinvest into their personal brand. And, I don't know where I sort of got the smarts to kind of do that, but it worked. And I had Cheryl as my publicist for at least 10 years, 12 years. And that's when all that cool stuff happened.
Yeah, it was definitely the next step in the evolution of the sport. So you innovated that.
Do you think Jet can do that?
I think, well, listen, here's the thing. I think Jet's going to be a superstar.
Yep.
And so far, so good. He's had the thing with the donuts, and he's like really having fun with the younger age fan group that he has. You know, I don't know. It's yet to be seen, right? He's got to dominate, which he already has, but he's got to keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think he has as good a chance as any American kid, even because he's Australian and people love Australians as well. It's not like he's a French guy or something that it'd be a little bit more difficult.
Right.
I mean, a European would be a little bit more difficult than, say, an Australian to become a famous American motorcycle star, right? But I think Honda would be wise, or Lucas Myrtle, his agent, would be wise in getting him, someone like I had Cheryl Lynch that was, promoting me and putting me out there and getting the big stuffs, getting him a publicist. That would be key. He's doing all the right things. Now, I think Adam Cincerello has a good shot at doing that too, but he can't seem to stay on his bike. So, Jet's, now kind of going to take over and going to be the next guy here, I think. So we'll see.
I think you're right. I got a few more
questions. Sexton's doing a good job too, though, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Sexton and Lawrence together, Honda's like a powerhouse, you know what I mean? So, they got the young kids, the good-looking kids, the personality kids, and with Jet Hunter and Chase, I think Honda's looking good for a while here.
They are. I've got a couple more. I know we don't have you much longer. I got a couple more questions for you, and Chiz just sent one. I think you've probably answered this before, but he wants to know, how bummed were you when you lost at St. Louis in '96 when Fro won and stopped the perfect season? He says, I'm just wondering because I was an 8-year-old kid, God, making me feel old also, and I was devastated.
Well, listen, it was a lot of pressure going up to that race.
Yep.
And, it was always like, oh, can he keep it going? Can he keep it going? And without a doubt, I could keep it going. I would have won the race had it been not for LaRocco, right? You guys remember watching the race? He knocked me off the track. But, in a way, it was kind of a relief. The bad part, I'll tell you the bad part.
Okay.
The bad part, I didn't really particularly like Jeff much. He was really arrogant, and I didn't like that about him. We get along fine now, but I hated that back then.
Right.
I don't like people that act like that, and he was pretty arrogant. I walked the line between confidence and arrogance, but he was just arrogant all the time, I thought. And so the bad part is he's the one it wouldn't have mattered if someone else would have beat me. I wouldn't have cared. But I really cared that it was him. You know what I mean? And
sure.
And the other thing I look at is, that night and that race, that I made him famous for that. So that's the way I see it.
Okay.
I lost the race, but I think that Jeff really parlays that into something. The guy that beat stopped the streak and all that stuff. Hell, I lost to him by a half a bike length, but I got knocked off the track 3 different times. So, I was super bummed, but boy, it was kind of a relief. The pressure was off. And it was easy to win the next race because there was no more expectation, so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was the stars lined up for him, Look, whatever happened to me in the beginning of the race, then I got taken out off the track. It's his home race where you get extra energy at your home races. And then really bad track conditions, super ruddy. He liked those conditions. I was terrible in those conditions. So, look, the stars were lining up for that to happen. And I can make every excuse in the world for it, why I got beat. But whatever happened. It's just the stars lined up for him that night.
That's the way it goes sometimes.
That's the way it goes. Yeah. Unfortunately.
So
people don't look at the 14 other ones that I win. One I got second.
Yeah, that's funny.
And he's not shy to let everybody know about that.
Right.
Yeah, but so one of the storylines this year was everybody kind of switched bikes. Tomac went to Yamaha, and then Anderson went to Husky. Went to Cowie, and then Mookie went to Husky, and they kind of all played musical chairs. And they all had really good success on it. And, you've been a guy that, I think you've rode for every manufacturer at some point. And so I just kind of wanted your perspective on, first of all, what you thought of that kind of storyline this year, and then the perspective of being the star guys kind of changing their rides.
Well, let's start with Eli. Eli seems to be pretty temperamental when it comes to his bike and stuff like that. Obviously he needed a change.
Mm-hmm.
Something wasn't gelling right, and he'd been there for a while, and he'd been having issues, whatever the case. And And obviously we can look now and go, that was an amazing change, right? I mean, people when he made that move were like, wow, why would you ride the Yamaha? Nobody wins on the Yamaha. It's kind of like a career killer.
Right.
And then late that summer, right? Late last summer before he started racing Supercross, what's his name? Ferrandis starts hauling ass on that bike, and whatever happened, they got it tuned up or whatever that change was from factory Yamaha over to Star Racing Yamaha over with that team and that group of guys. All of a sudden that bike started looking really good. So then that bike becomes the national champion bike. And then Tomac starts to look like a genius, right? Because you're like, wow, okay, bike can win. Ferrandis is killing it. Let's see what happens. And then Tomac comes out and just has his best year he's ever had the first year on that team. So, sometimes a guy like him who's won a lot, you need something else to find some motivation. And for whatever reason, it just worked. And I'm not sure who talked him into going that way, but man, what a brilliant move. Of course, being a Cowie ambassador, I was a little bit bummed for him, but at the same time, bringing Anderson over, I knew Anderson had a lot left in the tank. Mm-hmm. And, the rides that we saw from him this year, the amazing flat cornering ability that he has on the Cowie. We saw some really cool passes that he would just not sure where he found the grip on the bottom of the track, but man, we saw some amazing passes from him this year. So, look, I think Anderson made the right move. He feels great over here on the Cowie. Eli made the great move. He made a nice move over there. He won this year. I was only able to do it once. I only have the one outdoor championship, but when you win both titles in 1 year, you just feel like superhuman. So Eli's got to feel really good about that.
Yeah.
It's weird to think that he might be, coming into his last year of racing. That's right. So weird, right? He's had his most dominant year, but we don't know that. And then Malcolm riding Huskies. He had a great season for all Accord, versus for his record and his stuff. He was riding great.
Yeah.
So we saw some fantastic rides out of him. I don't know. I think without Barsha, totally taking Anderson out at that one race. Just for what reason, I have no idea. But just kind of riding like an idiot at that race. I thought without that, we would have had a lot tighter championship. I think Anderson would have been in it. So I don't know. I think we're all, as fans, we're shaping up for a good year to see some great racing.
Oh yeah, the last couple of seasons have been fantastic. I love where we're at in our sport. It's been great. I want to get two more questions in. I know real quick, you recently...
I'm not stressing.
Okay. Time. All right. Well, I told you 20 minutes, but it's
all good.
You're the king, man. We had a list.
Thank you. I appreciate it, but I'm good.
Recently, the California 300, your daughter Rowan and I believe you both raced together. You were in the car while she was driving?
Yeah.
How cool was that?
Yeah, I rode shotgun, yep.
How cool was that to be able to go race with your daughter?
Yeah, it was neat. We've been really, as a family, enjoying the side-by-side world the last couple of years. Go to the desert on the weekends and we deal. Some of you guys might not know, but my girls grew up racing go-kart, like dirt go-karts, and I raced short course trucks for a long time, and they had a kids class, so the girls were racing out there. And then since I stopped racing trucks, we really just sort of got rid of the race cars, started doing the side-by-sides, and then this year we kind of entered a few desert races, and I let her drive the Mint 400. And then this last race was the California 300. And I just kind of navigated. I rode in the shotgun seat. I prepped the car and we got the thing ready, and I just put her in the driver's seat. She's been wanting to race. So just trying to give her experience out in the desert. And it's kind of my first go at it when it comes to long distance desert races. I'm a track guy, I grew up like that. So,
right.
Me riding in the shotgun seat, I get to experience it on a little bit different level before I get back in the driver's seat. So my idea was to let Rowan race, prep the car, let her race. I'll ride shotgun. I can navigate. We can learn the ropes together. And then now I think she's got over 700 miles of racing in already, with me in the passenger seat. So now I think I can get out of the seat and put someone else in there that can navigate with her and change tires and whatever else might be needed if there's a problem out on the course. And then I have a new Kawasaki KRX 1000 being built for my younger daughter, who's 14. And then I'll probably ride in the passenger seat with her a couple times this year. And then with the hopes at the end of 22 or 23, that they'll both have co-drivers and I'll be able to get back in the driver's seat and we'll be able to race against each other as a family.
Awesome, man. That's so great. Like I love stuff like that. I mean, it's come full circle, man. You know, that's just awesome.
Yeah. I mean, look, I feel good about it. Look, the girls learned how to ride dirt bikes when they were little and we were all riding, on the weekends and stuff, but they've gotten older. At one's 16, one's 14. I feel good about them being inside of a cage with a seatbelt and stuff like that. And look, we just do it as a family hobby. My kids are doing other sports and all that. And as long as their grades are good, we like to go out on the weekends and do some off-roading or some racing. And Kawasaki coming out with that side-by-side has been a really cool machine. So we're having a blast as a family with that stuff. Good. And hopefully this next year is going to be more of the same.
Next question. My buddy Ryan Gauld recreated a picture from Daytona 98 with you this weekend. Did you have any idea what was going on? Did he weird you out any?
Oh, no, I saw him. Yeah. Okay. So I saw his Instagram too. It was cool. He told me the story.
Right.
And he started next to me. I thought I was bitching. I mean, wow. Right. 98 all the way till now.
Yeah. He was been planning this
23, 4 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It was a big deal to him, so he was really stoked. He was in studio with Mathis last night, and he was really happy. He was trying to figure out how he was going to get it done. He had to line up next to you, but he rolled up there, and I think he wanted to be on, I think, the right side of you, but somebody was already there, maybe Dubach, I can't even remember. But he was pretty stoked on it, so I didn't know if you were like, what is going on with this dude?
You know what? You know what's cool about the vet races is you see so many things like that.
Yeah.
Like so many guys I met this weekend. Yeah, I saw you back in, 99. Right. And even guys like him that I raced with.
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't have known that unless he told me. So it was cool.
Yeah. We got a lot of cool stories. Obviously Chris Kiefer was on last night. I think you maybe waved him by because I think you got a little arm pump and let him go.
Yeah. So, I knew Kiefer would be a problem. I have not been riding. So
right.
I was like,
you were good a few laps, and then you got tired.
Yeah, I didn't get physically tired. I got arm pump.
Right.
So I felt fine physically. I just was holding on too tight.
Yep.
My suspension was way too stiff, and the track was way too gnarly for me to be riding that fast. So, when those guys got behind me, they had been battling, and I was like, you know what? I'm pulling over. Let them go. So,
I feel that.
It was going to get too dangerous for me to try. My willpower wanted to stay in there, but my brain said, no, don't be doing that.
That's it. All right. Last question. This is just a general personality question I ask every once in a while. When you load the toilet paper on the roll, does the paper go over the top or off the back?
When you're looking at the paper roll, it's coming over the top at you.
Perfect. All right. You're a good person.
You're normal.
You're correct.
Yeah. Whoever brings it underneath is wacky.
Exactly. Yeah. If it goes against the back wall, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Perfect. All right.
Yep.
Jeremy, man, thank you. It really, as we talked earlier, having you on the show is one of the highlights for us. So it means a lot that you took time. I know you probably get tons and tons of requests and things to do every day. So thank you so much.
No, you guys, I enjoyed hanging, talking to you guys. Hit me up anytime. Listen, I like bench race and I love moto just as much as you guys do. So I enjoy every second I get to be talking about the greatest sport we have. Right. So
absolutely.
I enjoyed it. And again, let's not wait so long this next time.
Sounds good, man. I'm sure I'll see you at A1 and we'll do it again sometime during the season. You
got it. All right, guys. Well,
all right,
cheers, man. Thanks for having me and see you soon.
Okay. See ya, bud.
All right. Bye.